Good afternoon, everybody. You're welcome to School of Relationship and Marital Success. We thank God for His faithfulness and for bringing us into another edition. Today, it's a question of what are the things that I can do daily to make my husband happy? What are the things that I can do as a wife, that will do a lot for us? What are the things I can contribute on a daily basis that would make a lot of difference in our marriage? If you're ready, I am ready, and so let's dive right in. Yes, the first one I want to talk about is admire your husband every day. Yes, a lot of times we assume that it doesn't really matter. I've spoken about how he looks yesterday, last week, but now he's looking great again. So it's another compliment for another day. Don't forget when we talked about the laws of the five love languages, I mentioned that most men have primarily physical touch and words of affirmation as their love language. Please note, most men, not all men. So admire him. Oh, you look amazing. I'm so blessed to have you. That statement could mean you're blessed to have him in terms of his character, in terms of his wisdom and intelligence, in terms of the way he takes care of you. But it's also not out of place to talk about it in terms of his looks. He's looking good. Tell him he's looking good. It is a very important thing that should be done on daily basis. So number one, admire him. Yes. Number two, and I dare to say that this one cuts across 98% of men, if not more. Yes, respect him. It is very important to accord your husband the maximum dose of respect available. I like to give this example that as children of God, a lot of women respect their pastors a lot. In fact, some women, kneel down to greet their pastors. But I always say that it is not just important that you honor your pastor or respect your pastor. Much more, you should honor and respect your husband. Let him feel whatever honor you cannot give to your husband, do not give to anybody else. Everybody else inclusive. Whatever respect you cannot give to your husband, do not give to anybody else. Whatever value you cannot place on your husband, do not place on anybody else in terms of respect and honor. Ensure that you are creative in the way you honor your husband every single day. Respect him, honor him. I hope you know that respect is not limited to kneeling down. As a matter of fact, someone was told us that when they got married, a mother in the land, that when they got married, a day after, like the first morning after their wedding, she went on her knees to greet her husband. Her husband said, "What's that? What's that? Don't behave like a village girl. Get up, get up, get up." When you want to greet your husband, you greet him with a hug, not by kneeling down. And she said that was the last time she knelt down to greet her husband, like in the morning, because she felt a little embarrassed that she was taught by her mom that you kneel down because she has seen her mother kneel down to greet her husband, who happens to be our own father, a lot of times. So there are times that the description, the definition, or the expression of respect to your husband might not even be exactly the same as the one that you're familiar with or you're used to. But whatever expression it seems to be nailing or hammering on or mentioning, then you should know that that's important to him. For some people, serving their food very hot is respect, as little as or as funny as that may sound. So communicate respect in every way to your husband on a daily basis. Let him be settled that his wife honors him, his wife respects him, and then you will do a lot in contributing immensely to your marriage. Number 3, pray for him and with him. Yes, do not leave out the place of prayer. I tell people that there are times that certain, like we talked about in the last episode, that this year, 2025, 3 things you want to do. If you've not checked that episode, you should go check it. As much as there are principles that must not be ignored or taken for granted, the place of prayer can never be overemphasized or underemphasized. It is very important to know that some of the things you want to make happen in your marriage, or the things you want to see happen, will only take place first in the place of prayer. So pray for your husband and pray with your husband. The Bible says, whatsoever we ask according to his will, this is the confidence that we have, that whatsoever we ask according to his will, he hears us. The Bible says in 1 John 3 and verse 22, he says we receive what we ask of him because we do his will and we love one another. Because we do his will and we obey his commandment. Then verse 23 said, this is his will, that we love one another. So when you walk in love, when you go into the place of prayer, the Bible says in Mark 11 and verse 24, it said, whatsoever you ask when you pray, believe that you have received them and you shall have them. So when you're praying for your husband, these scriptures are anchor scriptures that you can hold into, knowing that the prayers that you're going to be offering to God, the Bible says that the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous in the book of James availeth much. So pray for your husband. Now pray with him. The Bible says if 2 of you shall agree as touching anything on earth, it shall be done of you of your Father who is in heaven. So there are prayers that will require that you agree with someone, and the greatest form of agreement that you can ever have is with your husband, because you have connected on a deeper level. The greatest covenant that you can ever be in is that covenant of sex with your husband, particularly within the confines of marriage. So do not ever think that it is enough to pray for him. It is very important also to pray with him. So number 1, admire him. Number 2, respect and honor him. Number 3, pray for him and pray with him. Number 4, play with him. Are we still brethren? Yes, we are. It is very important that we do not get so serious. As a matter of fact, the Bible says, in the presence of God there is fullness of joy, and at his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Isaiah 12 verse 3 says, with joy you will draw from the wells of salvation. The Bible says in Nehemiah 4 verse 6, the joy of the Lord is your strength. So the place of joy, and joy happens to be a fruit of the Spirit, Galatians 5 verse 22. So being joyful is a great thing. It is an habit that must be consistently cultivated. The atmosphere of joy must be consistently generated and maintained in our home. And one of the ways that you exhibit joy is by play. You run around, you play, one of the things I like to do, is to, while cooking, bring a piece of fish, meat or something to my husband. And as he's about to take it, I run, and then I tell him, you have to catch me to receive this. It's part of play. Come up with, when I say play with him, it might not necessarily be that you're going to be playing for 2 hours, 3 hours, because you might say, oh, I don't have that time. I got back and I'm tired. Just be intentional. Do not stop at the level of having good intentions. It is good to have good intentions, but you must be intentional about your good intentions to make sure that they are put to work, and then the right results are what you get. So play with him. Intentionally create that atmosphere of play, of joy, of being relaxed, even in the company of each other. Very important. Number 5, look good for him. Sometimes, and I dare to say that this happens to a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of married women. You're going out, you're all dressed up, you're all glammed, ready to, represent your father as the peculiar people, the holy nation, called out of darkness into his marvelous light. Yes, you're the child of your father in his majesty and splendor. You're looking really good. And then everybody's like, you're looking good. You're like, yeah, I know. But as soon as you step into your house, you're like, oh, home sweet home. I'm back home, and then you just start to get yourself. You want to relax. You want to take a shower. But can we still maintain that tease? And then as you get back in, as you remove the clothes you wore out, your jewelry and everything, can you put in something simple but yet you're looking still good? You know, you're looking good. You're not dressing down because you think you're at home. You have come to your palace, your dynasty, and there is a king in that palace. Yes, and you are the queen. So you cannot afford to misrepresent that dynasty. Yeah, right. So do not limit your representation of the kingdom to the outside world. No. Even when you're inside, intentionally look good for your husband. Some seduction here and there. I like to say that the only man you're permitted to seduce is your husband. Yes. So get, into some bomb shots, into some nice wear, and then you're looking still beautiful and good. And then you walk around displaying the beauty of God in your life. Yes, so do not only look good on your way out, also look good while in. Very important. It will do a lot in um, promoting and improving the life that you have together as a couple. And the last but not least, keep the house clean. I say it all the time that um, keeping the house clean can sometimes be challenging, but I learned by experience that the first thing that needs to be done is to put a schedule or a routine in place. There are some parts of the house that does not have to be cleaned every day because the traffic to those parts of the house might not be so high. You probably go there when you need to get there, and so it would remain clean most of the time because there's not much human activity there. But there are parts of the house that you can count how many times you're there in one day. And those parts of the house definitely would need more cleaning than the other parts where you don't really go to. So you want to be intentional as to how you create a routine for keep the house clean. Sometimes it might involve you don't necessarily have to do everything by yourself. Like one of my senior friends will say that mm, you cannot do everything by yourself. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, but I will not do all things. I choose not to do all things. So, like someone else will say as well, that there are things that you need to sit down and do by yourself because a lot is involved. A lot of the onus is upon you for it, and it is possible that no other person can do it for you. But there are several things that you don't necessarily have to do for yourself. So cleaning the house is one of them. You could get someone to come clean the house for you. The most important thing is that the house is clean. Yes, that's the most important thing. Whether you are the one cleaning up by yourself or you're doing it with the support of your husband or with the support of your children or someone is you outsource someone to come do it for you, the most important thing is that the goal of keeping the house clean is achieved. So you want to look at these 6 things to do daily. Number one, admire your husband. Number two, honor and respect him. Number three, pray for him and pray with him. Number four, play with him. Number five, look good for him. And number six, did I hear you? Yes. And number six, keep the house clean for him. And if you will decide to do these 6 things, I can assure you, you will exude more joy because you're out. Whenever we are out to make happen for another what we want for ourselves, we spoil God to make happen for us what we cannot make happen for ourselves. Yes. For example, now if you're going to be doing these 6 things, it is not with the intention of making yourself happy. Initially, you're going to be sacrificing towards making yourself happy and then investing in your marriage. But I can assure you that when your husband is happy, he sure will go out of his way to ensure that you remain happy, grinning from here to here. So I want you to know that when we get intentional about each other, we go a long way in creating the atmosphere for the cycle to continue. So I come your way again. Let's get intentional in 2025 and let the love go around. God bless you.